So apparently we had an issue and our video stopped and was taken down because the blasters are considered guns and we're live streaming with them. I don't know if we'll get taken down because we'll have those there.
This is going to be something that I was really worried about. I mean, before, we have not had any issues.
Well, because they're resin cast parts, but at the same time, they are replicas of a gun.
I know. We haven't had issues in the past, and they've kind of created a whole new algorithm, and it's still working kind of weird.
And it's, well, I mean, but it's a new policy as well, which is why. Yeah.
Yes, but we are not. We're not breaking any community guidelines, and it's actually going to make it very difficult to have a live podcast
about blasters.
So we're going to keep limping through this.
Blasters. We will see if it'll let us pop back on and let us stay for a little while. We'll see.
So anyway, basically what I was saying was on the DL-21, the AR-7 survival rifle with the Sterling grip, what I've done is bolted it on exactly the same way the prop makers did it for Empire Strikes Back. And
the Empire Strikes Out.
Yes. And so basically I'm recreating exactly what they did. And you do get a very particular grip angle from that. And that is something I know is probably in the original prop, even though from the pictures it doesn't really show it off. But I do believe it's part of the original. It has to be an artifact of the original prop. So anyone that ever gets one of these settings and says the grip's a little bit crooked, and then I will explain to you, this was created the exact same way they created them for the movie, and it's a characteristic of the grip shape and the gun body, and we'll leave it at that. Basically what happens is the grip catches the safety catch, and as you tighten, it tilts the other way. Anyway, we are going to leave all these blasters down here now, and they're in a pile, so hopefully the algorithm cannot pick them up.
I'm betting money that it does.
Authoritarians suck.
Anyway,
it's really just so, yeah, I get what's going on.
I understand what they're doing,
it's
but
not
at
fun
the same
for us.
time,
it's not fun for us, but
it's difficult for us. Yes,
I get what they're trying to do.
So anyway, that's going to be hard.
U.S. laws,
pretty much.
Oh, wait! That wouldn't break U.S. laws.
No, it doesn't break U.S. laws.
It's their community standards, and they've got their own community standards, and they can do whatever they want. What did you guys do? We broke the rules by having fake firearms.
These guys down here. I guess obviously since we're live streaming and we're not uploading these podcasts, they're not uploaded. They're live stream. The algorithm is just going to shut us down. Although we got quick response within 20 minutes, the last time it happened, they responded quickly.
Shut us down. So
they responded quickly and said, "Hey, you guys didn't," and they re-uploaded everything. Although you do lose the last 10 minutes of the stream.
This time we noticed it.
We noticed it, and we did not keep recording. We thought maybe last time it was going to keep recording and says once we fixed the problem and said, hey, we haven't broken any rules, that they would upload the entire content, even the content afterwards. But when it says it's shut off, it's shut off. There's nothing being recorded. There's nothing being kept. So anyway, the blasters will stay down here. We're not pulling them up. We might pull this guy up, but I don't know yet.
Because that is the SE-20.
That's the SC-14. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But anyway, recap real quick up on Etsy.
Etsy.com/shop/BlasterPro for all your blaster needs. Or, of course, go to BlasterProShop.com if you actually want to see what's
I
just want to make him do it.
All,
he can always go to Etsy.com/shop/BlasterPro.
All the DL-44s I make are up. So both A&Hs are up, the Greedo Killer and the Hero. Both of the Empire Strikes Back, the Hoth and the Bespin are up. And the last one that's going up or went up. Oh, and actually there's 3 for Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back. I'm sorry. The Stunt is also up. And the The stunt, I know where you were going with that. The stunt is the illegitimate father of of the Return of the Jedi hero, and the Return of the Jedi hero is definitely 100% a copy of the stunt.
Eva Momga all evening all from Mr. Matt Weiss, which is still not Matt. He's now Alex. He was Heidi last week. I'm not sure how to do this.
Oh, quick question.
Yes, Ron.
Your pictures that are on Etsy and everything of the blasters, are they affected by parallax?
Yes, they are affected by parallax.
Parallax.
Thank you, Rodney. And Hayden has not got parallax up, but so as you all know, last month. Oh, you know what? We haven't even thought about what we're doing this month for a giveaway.
Well, you have, because it's listed here on my
But
stuff.
we haven't spoke about it.
We have not spoken
Because
about
I was
it
getting
because
ready
it's
to
on here.
I was getting ready to segue into something else.
You were going to say, well, oh, okay, so you were going to go into that.
I was going to go over what we did last month to lead into what we're doing this month.
Oh, okay.
So, but what we're going to be doing this month, guess what? The last Tuesday of the month is on what day?
The 28th.
The very last day of the shortest month of the year,
Yay.
which is also my birthday month.
Because yours is the 25th.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Not that I know this offhand.
Yeah. Anyway, on the
20th, I've ever given him really
on
cool
the
gifts.
28th, I was trying to talk Matt into doing Jeopardy, and he turned in his company laptop because he no longer works for that company because he works for UC now. If you'd seen part 1, the stream that got shut down, you would know this. All right, so
We're building a Jeopardy board?
This is Jeopardy.
we actually were talking because anybody out there, any comments about last week's game, the spinny game, when we played Trivial Pursuit? That was fun. Spinny.
Wheel of Morality.
Wheel of Morality.
So anyway,
turn.
So we were talking that maybe we would just create a spinny wheel in here and then just have Rodney stand next to it, which is funny because Rodney doesn't even have one out of the 2 feet he has. He has not got one good foot.
Daryl says it was fun.
I liked it. I think it was a good idea.
I think it did.
And the way we decided to play it kept everybody in the game.
It did.
Even if you had a slow and bad connection, you could still stay right up with the pack.
But you could not win.
Technically, you could, because someone could just get a bad answer and you come in with a slower, correct answer.
I
Okay.
don't know if I got any bearings that work. For the wheel.
Okay. Anyway.
Already. See,
So
the lazy Susan is a better idea at that point.
I decided that we would be playing Family Feud.
Family Feud.
Star Wars Family Feud. So if hopefully, you know what, we're not going to.
We're going to go out and survey 100 college students.
They've already been surveyed. Anyway, we're going to be playing Family Feud, and the grand prize this month is going to be
a banana split.
It's going to be a blaster, and that
from BlasterPro,
and that particular blaster is actually sitting on the table, and I am afraid to pick it up.
It's that one right there, right?
No,
that one right there, right?
That one?
It's that one.
That one. It's this one right here.
Yes.
It's this one right here. It is the
Return of the
Jedi DL44.
Yes.
I have it written here.
Yes, it is. And
I like the one with the lighter grip personally. It's just to me it just seems more fun.
It screams more fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Maybe I'll find a different paint. Although that's
well, no, I get the darker paint on this one. I get it because technically when they were filming, they had the darker grips because
they're like a dark.
They were well, not just that, but it was also because
they were aged. And
they were aged.
Gun oil and all that stuff seeped into the wood.
And I get it. I completely understand why they were that way. It's just I like kind of the newer, fresh look on the grip there.
So what actually happened is I forgot to stir up the paint that I use for my grips. So I ended up not mixing up the paint and just dipping my brush in and painting and realize I'm getting a totally different color. And it's 2 or 3 shades lighter than the other one.
Definitely.
So that's what happened. So the paint just wasn't stirred. It's actually, these two are the exact same paints. So anyway, yes, it is the Return of the Jedi DL44.
DL44.
Apparently, if the YouTube algorithm is sensitive enough to catch an overhead projection of a Bergman Model 1 that was made,
you know what we need to do?
Well,
we need to just
over
like
100
flash it up every once in a while. Not like
yeah,
a permanent thing. Just like
yeah,
boom,
yeah.
there it is.
So the problem is,
You've got to pause it. You guys have to pause it in order to see what it is.
the problem is it's going to be very hard until we can figure out how to beat this, which I don't know how we can beat it.
How to? I told you. I just told you how.
I mean, to be honest, I think we got nailed on us waving around the DL21.
I think that's what happened.
And that doesn't even look like a conventional gun. That is a goofy looking gun.
Valid statement.
So anyway,
but it still looks like a firearm.
Yes.
So we're gonna move to Rumble.
Oh, and by the way,
TikTok. We're gonna TikTok it.
This
3-minute intervals.
This DL21 is in the Return of the Jedi configuration. Hojo, if you're out there, this is actually your blaster. It's going to be fitted with the fins, and then it's going to go in to our producer / director / babysitter. Hayden will be taking more photos of it.
Who's he babysitting?
He babysits us, kind of.
I thought he was babysitting my kid. I was like, yes, I got a babysitter.
He is expensive. He wants $45 an hour plus snacks.
How about double snacks?
For $20 an hour?
No, just like double snacks.
Just double snacks. Did you hear that, Hayden? He's like, he is paying absolutely no attention to us.
Dude, that's going to your house at any time to double snacks.
So anyway, this is actually Hojo. This is your blaster. Actually, Hojo, your blasters are right here. Last week's win and last month's win, or the month before win.
So you haven't even sent that out, is what you're saying?
Or this is the month. This is November.
Wow.
I think this is November.
November? Holy crap, man!
Ooh,
It
you're
is
working from home now.
It is
so you can
November.
take the stuff to the.
This is a November
No,
win.
because I'm working from home. See how that works?
This is a November win. Yeah.
Holy cow, dude.
I know.
Dude, we just put a little motor on your mouse. It moves it around. You can be gone for hours.
No. That is not how this works.
Anyway,
that's how engineers solve
speaking
problems.
of parallax, which we
Parallax.
brought up earlier, last month we talked about scaling, how to scale
Blow things up.
your pictures or 3D models and toys to create, because this Emperor, this is the exact 3D file. This is not the actual piece, but this is the actual 3D file that we use to scale up our Emperor's throne. And I don't want to toot our own horn, but I think we have probably one of the most accurate Emperor's thrones.
You say that, and I worry that somebody's going to be like coming at us and just start.
No.
Maybe that's why we're getting censored now, is because you keep like talking about it.
Have the most accurate one is because we identified
that little piece right there.
We identified a piece that had never been publicly announced what it was. No one else has ever come out and said, hey, we figured out what this is. We're not taking away from anyone else's throne builds, but when we build something, we go deep into research and we try to find every possible source of information. And we found one particular picture of Mark Hamill sitting casually in the chair with his legs drooped over the side, and that gave us the perfect angle to decipher exactly what one of the pieces on the throne is that no one else had ever identified before. And then you and I went and got the Revell engine kit, spread it all over this tape.
All over the tape.
And we knew it was a crank piece. We knew exactly what it was. It was a crank piece.
And then we went through about 6 of them to figure out exactly which one it was.
To figure out exactly which one it was. And if anybody wants to know, it's like number 56B. To be honest, we could find out because Hayden could go into our media storage. He's like, well, I got
Wait, we're talking. Hey, wait, what?
Do you remember what his biggest complaint
So
was?
I want to point out
Go
that
into media storage.
Hayden is just joined us.
So last week, what was Hayden's big complaint? He had to stay engaged. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Keep going down. Oh, there it is. There it is. You see the one right there with the circle on it? Pull that in. Drag that in. Put it in the media page.
I'm watching all this happen real time.
Yeah, because you guys don't understand. You can still see us. Nothing's going on. But we're watching us here.
And go.
And it's number 55A.
Hey, you were wrong. You said 54B.
Okay, I was wrong. But anyway, that was the piece. You know, you should just put Parallax up there too.
Parallax.
He did not want to be engaged at all last week, and he had to spin the wheel, and that meant he could not. Just do the movie poster. That's more fun. Did you know we found a movie?
I did not.
You didn't know we found a movie?
No. And see, the thing is what I know of Parallax is from Green Lantern.
Okay.
Because he's like a dragon-looking character that is made of yellow, and there's the reason why that for the longest time, the Green Lanterns had a distinct weakness to the color yellow.
Oh.
Nobody likes DC.
I'm just saying.
Shot. Okay, so anyway, last month, that's
Did you
what we
really
did.
Just do that?
We were doing scaling. We scaled from photographs, and we got shut down for scaling from photographs because we had a gun in the picture. We scaled, then we talked
Blaster, not gun.
Yeah. We also were talking about scaling from toys and models.
Yep.
And which is what, and we came up and we shared our scaling formula and how that works. So this month we're going to be talking about mold making.
Mold making.
Which is the backbone of what I do. Every piece you see in front of me, every bit of those blasters comes from
hold on. Yeah. That is made from a mold.
Yes.
This is the
Let's do it like that.
SC-14.
That is the SC-14.
Because you might get in trouble. We're trying to keep it laid down so they can kind of see.
Yeah. Okay. We're being careful so we don't get.
Maybe we should do it upside down. That way it doesn't pop.
I think it pops either way. Anyway. So anyway.
That is from what all movie? That's from. They've got them in Andor.
They're in Andor. They're all over the Mandalorian, and the first screen used version we see is in A New Hope.
Not what's sitting next to you. They broke the mold with him. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Talking about Rodney, right?
Son of a bitch. They are life partners, so I got nothing.
Yes. So this month the topic is going to be mold making. Tonight we're going to be doing general talk about molds, and then we'll get specific about one type of mold. And next week we will continue the conversation. The week following that, we'll continue the conversation, and then the week following that, we'll give away
a blaster.
This bad boy. And apparently, we're not going to be able to set these up on our stands. We have blaster stands. This is a deal.
They're a little janky right now, but yeah.
It's seen better days.
It's a DL44 stand.
Janky blaster.
Mirrored.
Dusty. Now you're just trying to.
This is kind of like a car show when they put them up on stands and then put the mirrors underneath them. Anyway, we have all these blaster stands that we're not going to be able to use anymore. We even have lightsaber stands, but we're not going to be able to use them because.
Are we going to be able to use the lightsaber stands? Will that set up?
You know what we might try?
Pieces. Take them in individual pieces.
We've tried that.
They broke the mold with Rodney too. Unfortunately, it was a beep hole. Come on, that's a good one. You gotta give him that one.
That's good.
You gotta give him that one.
So I don't know what we're gonna do. I mean, it's kind of because if we shoot a photo, like a good high def photo of, You know what we might try to do? Next week, we'll put orange tips.
Orange tips.
We'll try orange tips. Or we could try orange tips tonight. See if that gets us blocked.
Here, you go stand over there and put an orange tip on that.
Hayden, jump up and grab the electrical tape. We're going to do this later in the show, though. We're going to put the orange tips on, but we'll display them.
I'm making Rodney go put it here. Actually, I'll do it, Rodney. I don't mind.
What's he doing?
No,
He's
we
going to
have
put
do it off camera.
I know, that's what I was going to do.
Put it down there.
We're going to put an orange tip on it.
Yeah, we'll do it right here. We'll just grab it and do it right here.
Yeah, but then I look like I'm jerking off.
Look at this.
There you go. Put it. All right, give me that. Give me that. See what happens. Hold on a sec.
It looks like you're playing with yourself.
I know it does.
It's
Hold
exactly
on a
what's
minute.
going on.
Woo! Nothing
You're
happened.
going to get in trouble.
All right. Give me that. Bring it along. For everyone out there that wants to know, the Blaster Pro, official Blaster Pro, orange tip kit right here.
Now, don't forget, you can go to etsy.com/shop/BlasterPro for all your blaster needs. Or BlasterProShop.com.
Is that Hunter orange or competition orange?
Competition orange.
This is electrical tape orange. They had electrical tape red, which was kind of like that, or more like the toolbox, but it wasn't that bright red. And this worked closer. So
Fire engine red.
fire engine red.
Fire.
So anyway, tonight we're going to be discussing molds, molds, and more molds.
My wife is able to grow some great molds.
Spores, molds, and fungus.
Spores, molds, and fungus.
Unfortunately, they're all in the fridge.
So anyway,
Do you want me to do that?
oh,
You're going to do it?
I'm
Now he's
experienced.
going to look like he's now he's just playing with the tip.
The more you rub it,
Just the tip.
see, what we're going to do is we're going to do an experiment. How long did it take us to get flagged this time?
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
We're at 21 minutes from them laying on the table.
All right. So we're going to set this down. We're going to have our discussion, and then we're going to put this on a stand with the orange tip, and then we're going to see what happens. See if that helps.
Or was it the passing back and forth that did it?
It could have been the holding the pass because we were handling this one a lot.
Talking about building
I handle mine a lot.
But the first time we got flagged, it was on the projector, the overhead projector.
I don't know. I don't know.
And that was like a grainy. That picture was taken over 100
Yeah, I know.
years ago.
I know.
It's like a textbook photo. So anyway, the first thing when you go to make a mold, if you have created a prop,
So you're making a mold.
if you've created a prop, you need to figure out
You got it.
how you're going to cast it. So
I'm Jack's total disregard for you.
So when you're, I always like when people start talking about mold making, one of the things you have to think about is the part. You have to see the part kind of upside down and backwards in a way. Does that make sense? What's so funny?
I'm a pervert.
All right.
Settle down. Trying to explain something.
Yes. You're the director. Settle down.
I cannot be nearly as mellow as he is.
Anyway, whenever you have something you want to cast, the type of mold you're going to use really determines. There's a few factors. Number one is, are you planning to just take something that maybe is 3D printed and you want a more solid version of it because you've cleaned it up and done some work to it, and you plan to do a one-off cast? Or are you planning...
That would be something similar to say this.
Or you plan to do a production run where you want a mold to make 20, 30 parts. Because you can save money by using a lesser material for a one-off cast. Also, another reason why you need to determine, or other factors that go into deciding what type of mold you're going to be making, is also the use. Is it a costume piece? Is it a hard costume piece like a helmet, or is it a blaster or blaster parts? Is it going to be a belt? A lot of your clone troopers, their belts. A lot of people started making the clone trooper belts out of foam, so that requires a different type of mold. So all the different things, there's tons of different variables. You could be doing undersuit pieces, like the gap pieces that you put on in your Under Armour to accent the undersuit that the newer stormtroopers and shore troopers might have. That might be made out of I would say probably a urethane rubber, but you could also make something like that out of silicone. Although I think urethane rubber works better in that way.
Urethane rubber
14?
seems to work better. That's
Yeah.
what we're doing with November
That's
Black.
isn't that what Larry's neck things are also?
Well, okay, so for the November Black suits, he's got a mold, and they're fixing it to fabric. Looks pretty good.
Okay, all right. So anyway, there's many variables on the types of molds, mold material. So that's what we're planning to go over this month is mold making and the different types of molds for different applications, different types of molds for whether you're in production, whether you're just going to make 1 or 2 copies and we're going to be done with it. I mean, you can go down and there are formulas out there that you can go to Home Depot and mix up a home brewed silicone mold for a light production. And you don't have to go and buy a gallon of Rebound 25 or Dragon Skin or whatever other.
It's about 50 pounds of caulk.
Yeah.
And
So, yeah, it is funny.
paint.
And to be honest, it is funny that a lot of these hardware store silicone mold making formulas end up costing twice as much than it would be if you just bought a starter kit of Smooth On's Rebound 25.
As I would have to.
Yeah. So anyway,
Why are you sighing so much over there?
what you're planning to do, like I said, if you're making casts for flexible costume parts, the type of mold you're going to be using will be totally different. If you want to make something out of, say, for instance, shore troopers. On shore troopers, you have the gaps between your armor pieces. Looks like a more intricate undersuit than what traditional stormtroopers.
What if I
would
wanted
have.
to make like small repeatable parts like these that are on your blasters?
That would be an open mold, a dump mold.
How exactly does that occur, sir?
What, are you steering me in a different direction?
Yes, I fucking am.
Because you want to get. Well, I was going to spend the whole rest of the night talking about this guy.
Okay, I figured as much, and I know how much you can do it.
Speed me up by 20 30 minutes.
Isn't that what you do when you have too much resin?
Basically, I was trying to lay down that if your molds are also determined by what the end product is going to be, what it needs to do, whether it needs to be flexible, needs to be hard, needs to be light, it needs to be, because if you're doing a flexible part, you're going to create a flexible part, and you want that flexible part to be silicone, the best molds to make are flexible molds like silicone molds or urethane rubber molds. If you want to make a urethane rubber part, you want to use a silicone mold because the silicone and urethane, they do not. I don't know where he's going. They do not. They do not. Okay, for instance, the best thing to stick to silicone is silicone. So you cannot cast silicone parts out of a silicone mold. So you need to use a urethane mold to cast silicone parts. So if you're going to use, if you want flexible urethane parts, you need to use a silicone mold because you're not going to cast urethane in a urethane mold because once again, they will want to lock together and become one. So anyway, tonight's main topic is going to be the most basic molds of all, and that's a dump mold. And dump molds work best for detail pieces, greeblies, all that type of stuff that only needs one side to be good. The back side, it's going to be glued and attached. So a dump mold or an open face mold like this works great. There is another version of dump face or open molds that we're going to talk about probably next week that are much, much larger, and they have a different use and a different purpose. Or now, also, when you're producing and making molds or making parts, dump molds are always handy to have around, because as you're casting and you have a half an ounce laying around that's still in the cup, you made your big pour, you pour into your dump molds. That's why if you're ever in my workshop, you look, the Return of the Jedi, Mirror Sun Power 5, DL21, A&H DL44, DL18, those parts bins are pretty much primarily dump mold parts, and
they remain full.
They are completely full. Like, this is actually Return of the Jedi Greebly kit right here, and to be honest, I don't think these parts are going to fit in there.
An ounce left over. I get what you're saying, but that's not different ounce, different type of ounce.
So anyway, in the creation of a dump mold, this is what I traditionally use. If you notice,
Rodney, put that up close to the camera so they can understand what it is.
If you notice this right here, oops, something came loose. Anyway,
Is that the glue?
Yeah, I used a hot glue, and the hot glue doesn't like this thing. Anyway, here you go. So this mold, if you notice, fits perfectly in here, and it's because I just keep these ready to go. That's just a bin organizer that holds the Greeblies for a Mirror Sun Power 5. So this is a Mirror Sun Power 5 Greebly set minus the heated vents. The heated vents are made in a similar mold to these, which are an encapsulated mold.
Matt, you look fantastic.
I know. I knew what you were doing. It's okay. I got it.
Here you go. You want to pull pieces out of this? Oh, for anyone that's out there that's waiting for Return of the Mirror Sun Power 5 parts, this mold is down, and I will show you right now why this mold, the Greebly mold, is down. Matt, just did you see it?
The split right here?
No, this right here.
I haven't.
That nipple goes all the way up through. So this is, here you go, miscast part.
Sweet, I can glue it to Matt.
It's because the nipple.
Yeah, the nipple came off.
It's the nipple.
So right now, the only reason I haven't made one is because I'm out of silicone. As soon as the silicone arrives, possibly tomorrow, so tomorrow evening, this set right here will be remade. I keep these in this condition, even though the hot glue doesn't like to hold to this yellow plastic. I keep these molds ready to go, or keep these masters ready to go, so I can just pour in. For instance, a couple of them, I actually have backups that are already made. I had backups to this one.
These are looking pretty rough too.
Yes, yeah, you can tell. What you can see is on the part, you can see these areas right here. Look right here. See this right here?
Mm-hmm.
The oils are leaching out of the material, and you can see it's shiny because there's still oil here in the middle, but the sides. Rodney, go ahead and put that up there. You can see the difference.
What he's talking about is so the shiny part is what it should normally look like.
So as time goes by,
a little bit forward, keep going, but we want the light to bounce off it.
Yeah,
come on.
There you go. See how in the middle of it, it seems like it's wet. That is shiny because the oils from the silicone are being leached out on every cast, and the edges of a lot of these pieces are literally, their texture changes due to the fact that the mold is aged,
dying.
Yes. So
slowly
most of these pieces are good. I don't sell these pieces. Would work great when you put paint on them. You won't see this, but the problem is these are also kit pieces. These go out as a kit, and even though they'll work fine once you put paint on them, I don't send them out like this because
they're not up to.
They're a little janky.
Yeah, they don't look good when they come as a. It's difficult, but yeah, the appearance of the part when it shows up needs to be uniform and good and fine. And these parts, because the mold is starting to die, are not up to snuff. They're up to snuff on a regular build, except for this guy. They're up to snuff on a regular build, but as a kit, they're not up to snuff because they're not uniform. And
so those get put into a blue coffee bin, and then
no. This one,
Then Joe shows up and makes
this one is going into the blue coffee cup because there's a little nipple on here that broke off.
He said nipple again.
And
He said nipple again.
this piece is now technically, I guess I could drill this out and it would be a perfectly fine part, but I'm not going to. I'm making a new mold, so it will be so this mold is actually retired.
So what do you do with retired molds?
Throw them in the garbage, sir.
You don't grind them up and use them as filler?
No.
That would be kind of fun.
It would be kind of.
That.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Who?
Guy who lives in his basement.
Larry?
That sounds a lot like me.
Well, another person who lives in his basement.
Now, right now, what Matt's got is Return of the Jedi Greebly sets, and you can see that mold.
This one I didn't really like that because it's got some.
That mold actually still has a lot of life on it. Now, the funny thing is, I have made 5 of these since I've made one of those. It's just
You got a
because
fingerprint in that.
Yeah, that's me. It's in the mold. That is because the volume of Mirror Sun Power 5 and Mirror Sun Power 5 parts that get sold is way higher than the Return of the Jedi DL44. So I go through a lot of these compared to that one over there. This mold actually is only maybe 2 months, I think I made this in December, and normally this one was made over a year ago. So, and there is a design, a pre-laid out box with all these parts glued in it in the back of the shop. So when I do need to make a new one of these, all I have to do is pull that out and pour it, and everything is already laid out in it.
So is there a difference in life of the molds for the thickness that you have?
Yes, the thickness actually adds to the life of the mold. And if a mold ends up being too thin, you can see what happens. I made this one thinner because this was the second in a batch of 2 being made. And I knew this was going to be a backup. But if you see how that one's nice and kind of straightish, and this one's like, well, they were cast like this, so the tension of the silicone on the walls automatically creates a little bit of a dish, but this one is actually really straight
compared to that one.
Compared to this guy.
Because it's more like a bowl.
And this guy is a lot stiffer also because the oils are being pulled out of it a lot faster. This one is naturally a lot softer and more pliable than this one, and you just feel it.
Despite being the same product.
Exactly the same product.
Like the Dandy Mold Night.
Which is, this is dragon skin.
Oh, yeah, and they're just completely disintegrated.
Yeah.
Now, this right here is a different, this is technically not an actual dump mold, but it operates very similar. This is a mold that encapsulates a piece, much like these molds here. These molds are in a piece of PVC pipe because it helps hold the shape and close the mold back up, because all of these molds have
a split line.
A split line to get the mold for demolding. But in this one, this does not have a split line, and nor does this one. This one here is the disc for the A&H Hero. That's what that is right there. And this is the thumb screws that hold the mount, the scope mount on.
It's more like a sock mold.
There you go. And look at how nice and beautiful those are. Now, what I love about these, do you see the tooling marks? The tooling marks? Come on,
Yeah, right here.
I made these pieces on the lathe. After looking at high-res photos of the blaster itself.
Air bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but that air bubble is where you're never going to see that air bubble. Now, these parts were all cast under pressure. Under pressure.
Under pressure.
Yes.
Pushing down on me. Pushing down on
So, when you have a piece and you need to decide what type of mold you want to make, like I said, we're talking about dump molds tonight. These are open. These are just open face molds to accept. Like I said, I never mix resin for these molds. These molds are when I'm mixing and I'm pouring a. Hand me that piece.
So he has a calculation that says this is X.
This is the butt cap for the SC-14. The SC-14 is 2 ounces. So this is 2 ounces of material.
That's good enough.
Yeah. Every one of my molds,
actual molds,
they are the bigger molds. Like this one here, this is nothing. This, I don't know what. That's fraction. I wouldn't mix anything extra for this. This would also fall into the category of I got extra material. I'm going to pour this because it's not. This is the charging lever for the SC-14, which is right here. Yeah, you got to slide it down. There you go. That's the charging lever for the SC-14, and that's not even it's not even a half an ounce. It's very little material. So these small molds would never get. I would never pour
mixed material for them.
But when I'm pouring this, I know this to shoot for about 2 ounces. The muzzle, which is where's the muzzle? The muzzle is right here, which is also around 2 ounces, which is funny. Which they're actually technically under 2 ounces, but I round up.
Which is why he has excess.
Flash suppressors are typically, this flash suppressor is in the 2 ounce range, and this flash suppressor is in the 2 ounce range. Now, when you're casting and you have a piece you need to make, this piece is a good example of me modifying a piece just to cast. This piece traditionally would be open right here, and it would have in the real world, this is the nut that holds the barrel on to the SC-14, or actually, what is it, the remix favor or whatever it is? Yeah. So the original, I filled this in. I filled the hole in so I could put a plug on this end and cast it like this. It was in the mold. It was in the cup. I poured the silicone in, and then when I demolded...
I'm not fucking around. No, put it back on.
What did he do?
He was going to write on me with a Sharpie.
How many ounces? He's probably trying to figure out how many ounces it took to fill you up.
Now I got to find an ounce to pound conversion.
So, on this one, I had to do something I did not want to do. Anytime you want to make a part, you want the casting to be pretty much a finished part with minor cleanup. This one requires some work because I did not want to lose this right here. The reason why is the construction of the gun. Hand me that barrel. This is the upper receiver. I wanted it to fit just like so. Right on there.
20.
So I wanted it to fit on this receiver tube without any issue. So what I ended up doing was right inside here, I drilled a hole, and all you have to do is take a drill bit that's roughly this same size or close to the same size. It will self-center on this hole, drill down maybe a half an inch, and then come back with a smaller drill bit, like an 1/8 inch drill bit, and the 1/8 inch drill bit will center on the tip of the old drill bit that drilled in and drill straight out the center of this. Well, you're going to sand this off first. I'm sorry. Sand off the plug. Use a larger drill bit to drill into this. And the drill bit will self-center on the hole that I already have in here. And what you're doing with the larger drill bit is to create a cone inside that smaller drill bit will come in and self-center on and drill all the way through, and that will give you a perfect lineup. The reason why you don't want to use the full-size drill bit that would fit this size and instead use an 1/8 inch drill bit is because you need to use a Forstner bit or maybe even a spade bit. You can use a spade bit also on it. An 1/8 inch drill bit is perfect for a spade bit or a Forstner bit to follow on through. So the larger ones, the larger drill bit would not work. It would walk around and do whatever. So you want the smaller hole, and that's kind of the compromise I had to make to create this piece to be able to be cast. So anyway, moving on. So just last weekend, another thing I had to worry about, this has actually been one of the hardest blaster parts for me to cast, besides maybe DL21 or DH, the DLT19, the MG34 parts. This has been one of the hardest things to cast. And the reason why, Matt, can you tell me what you see? Besides, you do see air pockets.
Well, yeah, but the main thing because you had to make an escape on this one.
Well, yes. When you cast something, you have something you want to cast. I want to grab a blaster so bad, but I don't want to get in trouble. So anyway,
most of the time when he has a blaster, he fills it in through the barrel.
Okay, let's go back.
I'm pretending this is your blaster.
Yeah.
So he normally would fill it in through the barrel like so.
Exactly.
And the problem is in this one, looks like you poured it in through the handle.
Well, okay, here's the thing.
Why wouldn't you turn it this way, and that would be your...
Well,
so you got the guard.
The thought was originally to cast it from here, but I thought this would be a very common area that I would. So when you're casting and you're creating a mold, you have to think about the fluid, the way the material is going in, and you have to think about places it will be trapped. So I knew this area was a bad spot. This was not a bad spot because this is naturally sloping this way and sloping. So I knew the grip assembly would burp out this vent where I created it. The mag assembly,
I can see what
this area down here is flat. And why I caught an air pocket right here is because there's a lip. So I was doing this and doing this with the mold box and doing my tappy, knowing this flat area was
halfway. And then...
Well, what happened was I was not taking in account for this, and I should have. Yes. So my little tappy, it was trapped at the lip.
Yep.
My little tappy should have been more like this.
Yeah.
And then more like that.
So you'd have to fill it up at least halfway before that can even occur.
Well, you fill it up full, and then you start tapping.
Just cover the holes.
And just wait for the holes to burp. And so I got an air pocket trapped in the trigger guard. I actually didn't think this was going to be a bad area.
I didn't think it would be either.
I
can understand.
This was going to be the worst area because this is a flat,
concave,
flat square piece. And I knew I had to have a vent here. And you're right, Matt. If this was a no-go.
Yeah, that's
because the only real place to hook here. The idea is also when you're casting, especially when you're doing casting for a production run, You want to hide as many of your sins as possible, and I like to hide all my sins on the bottom. All my mold lines from the Mauser pistols to the DL-21, all the way through all my blasters, the mold lines are running down the bottom. And that's my thing. If you have right here, Rodney, take this up to the camera and show off, because that is one of the best letter paintings I've had in a long time. See that right there? The BMH&R scope 1942, blah, 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 all that. If I created this piece in a 2-part mold, it is upside down, but the detail I want and to preserve is all on the top. On the bottom of that, if you turn it around, Rodney, and show them the bottom of the scope, go down a little bit more. If you can see now, angle for color, for light, we're not going to see it.
Can't see it.
Anyway, on the bottom of that scope is the mold line. And one of the things I try to do and think about on all of my molds is I do not want to obscure any of the important detail. Like for my blasters, having this lettering that would have been in the original props, there, it doesn't show up on screen. You can't see it on the screen, but it's there, and it was in the original, especially the Heroes, because the Heroes were built with real metal parts, and it's important for me to have that part there. So that is a one-piece mold. It is in a piece of PVC pipe just like this. It's poured through the feet, and this piece determined how my mold was going to be created. It was going to be poured as a one-piece mold that the part is going to have to be cut out of. A 2-part mold would have been sitting in a box, layer of clay, the part in the clay, half exposed, pour in your silicone, flip it over, peel out the clay, and then pour in more silicone. And now you have a mold that you part A mold and part B mold, and you rip it apart and you pull out the piece. On my molds, primarily most of my molds, to maintain
Accuracy
and integrity of the part, they only have a split. And what this split does is allows me to only have one mold line on these round pieces like this. You sand off this back, you sand off the plug where it's poured from. And then since this is a brand new pour, look at the mold lines on that.
right there, little tiny things.
Barely. You could put that on the top and you wouldn't notice it. As time goes by, the molds stretch a little bit, and there's going to be misalignment, and you will have a more dramatic mold line like you will have on this very old mold for this.
Yep.
You can see it right there. Yep. But here's another trick. You can hide the mold lines with a paint job. And thank goodness Star Wars is dirty. It's not Star Trek. You can hide a lot more stuff in the Star Wars universe than you can in the Star Trek universe.
Indeed.
So anyway, this particular item here has been a very difficult mold. And you're right. I'm actually rethinking how I did this. And I may come up with a different way of doing this. I might cast it this way with the main pour spout here and a vent here.
That would make more sense.
But I'm still worried about trapping here. But
really,
there's no good way to print.
Doing it like you would normally do these. So basically a pour spout out the front.
Out the front, like so here.
Having your pour spout there is your optimal location.
But this is still a big flat area.
I get it, but it's a big flat area.
The only
but it's at the top, and you have less likelihood to catch.
Well, to be honest, what I thought about doing was tipping it like this.
Yeah. In
the mold, and then
so
having the spout come out and everything
at an angle.
Yeah, and then it just leaves these areas that are in danger. Did you look at how nice that turned out?
It did.
Does it even
I can
look
see
like
the
those
S
were
and the C.
aluminum inserts? Because
No, it doesn't.
when you have the master, it totally looks different because they were pounded in there
Mhm.
as different pieces.
Yeah,
But looking at it like this, it looks like, oh, that's part of it.
it looks great.
I'm very pleased with this, and I cannot wait to finish it.
All right. Shall we do our test? Do you want to say anything else?
What test do we want to do?
So
Oh,
got
yeah,
this
we
guy
can,
right
we can
here.
do the test
We're
now.
going to wave this around.
We're going to pass
Because
it.
we're
We're
gonna
going to put it
pass
on
it
the
back and
stand. We're
forth.
going to do this. We're going to do
So
that.
if the screen ends, we want you
So,
guys to know
yes.
that we are happy with you. We're thanks for joining us. But we're just testing out to see if like the algorithm figures out stuff, sees us, sees the gun. If it sees the orange tip, we don't know. We're basically just trying to figure out what it's snagging on in order to.
Having the orange tip might help. If it does help, I am truly excited about that.
Right?
So anyway, let's start wrapping up the stream because we don't know when YouTube is going to wrap up the stream.
Yeah, exactly. So
So basically,
don't forget, we've got
more
on the
stuff.
28th.
Yes, on the 28th, we're going to be doing.
Your wrap up goes like this. Remember, you're the one who said you want to do the wrap up that way.
Well, I wanted to end our conversation.
Oh, okay.
And then do. But anyway, next week we'll be doing more discussions on molds and mold funnery. We're going to get deeper into the molds because tonight it was really just about dump molds and an introductory and why you should use different types of materials. And we're actually going to go into different types of materials as we go along. And we're eventually going to get finally to helmet molds.
Helmet molds.
And we're going to get to helmet molds and armor molds.
Armor molds.
At the end of the not next week, but that's where we're going to end up.
Does that mean we've got a wrecker?
No. Wrecker is going to be vac formed. But do you remember the flexible stormtrooper armor?
Yeah.
And
I got excited. I thought
yeah,
wrecker was going to happen.
You got excited. Down, boy,
You
down. You haven't been here.
So
Wrecker has been stalled because you have not been here. So anyway, as far as molds go, we're gonna pick my brain, get all my mold information out there to share with you guys, to help you guys on projects that you're doing. I have some somewhat unique mold ideas that some people I've learned from other people, but they're still not really mainstream.
Just make sure it definitely catches that we're holding it.
So anyway, now we're going to go into full wrap up. Full wrap up is our contest this month is going to be on the 28th.
Family Feud.
Day of the month. And yes, we're going to be doing Family Feud. If you're not familiar with Family Feud, go back and find a game night where we played Family
And
Feud.
you have a chance of winning no matter what.
And we do set it up to where the
big money answers
the
are
big
at the
money
end.
answers end up near the end, so it almost makes it anyone's game.
It is literally anyone's game throughout the entire thing.
Hey, what are they going to win, Matthew?
They are going to win this one.
The one
This right in my hands. This thing in my hands. Minus the orange tip. Well, I guess it's up to you. If you want the orange tip, we'll leave it
to
on.
be honest, for all you Etsy customers and all the people out there, normally the orange tip's just not going to come. Because I really know, and I also really know that having an orange tip on there is very dumb because it's a replica, and replicas don't have tips.
Just the tip.
Toys for kids running around on the streets have tips. But now,
just don't aim it at a cop.
Now, even adults aren't responsible enough to have a toy gun. And that is the world we live in today.
Yeah, I get it. Of course.
And you could also argue that these are for screen and stage productions. And orange tips don't jive on the
I
screen.
think I can get the Ethernet 810 startup.
Anyway,
without the breakout.
we've been waving this one around for a while.
I don't think it's been a full 10 minutes.
Has it not been a full 10 minutes? So should we go full 10 minutes before we grab a non-tipped one?
Nah, because I have to go home because I have to get some sleep because I have to get up early.
That was why you were rushing.
Yes. That and
now I told you, and I gave you an out last week and a week before.
I know
said,
you said
anytime you wanted Rodney to fill in for
but
you,
at the same time,
if you were all tuckered out,
if we had gone like the method I was trying to go, you could have been done, and we could have been done like on time
I know.
instead of over.
You remember when I didn't prepare for you? And you got upset?
Time.
And you remember when I did prepare and you were like, so,
Like the
what's
thing
next?
is for
What's
everybody
next? What's
else,
next? What's
everybody else he prepares, and then for me it's just like
that is not
chaos and randomness.
true. That is not true.
Chaos.
That is
and
not true.
randomness.
You know the best. Okay.
I like chaos.
Okay, Rodney is a good co-host because Rodney lets me do whatever I want and doesn't really mess with me. But at the same time, Rodney does not input.
Rodney's a terrible co-host because he doesn't say a goddamn thing.
And then other times, good night, Alex or Matt. Or whatever.
Matt.
It could be Alex. We don't know. Alex might be a fan of
I'm
ours.
pretty sure that he has pretty much he's killed everybody in his family and he's just on to whoever he wants to be as.
Ready to wrap up?
We are wrapping up. It's what, 12 after? All right.
12
We're waving all kinds of blasters now. Anyway, this one's up. This is this has lost first place. This is the Bespin DL44. This was the first place top selling blaster, and it bested the Mere Sun Power 5. The problem was this has not been on Etsy for a while, and the Mere Sun Power 5 has taken back number one. So this one's back, and it's going to take number one again. I guarantee it's going to start
And you can
flying
always
off
go
the
to
shelves.
BlasterPro's shop because that is up and running correctly.
And the DL21 Lieutenant Ren's is going up either tonight or tomorrow. In the next couple of days, the photos are taken, right, Hayden?
Yeah.
So we got new photos. We're going to build a new.
Alex is a fan. Yes, it's Matt. I don't believe
We're going to be
I don't
building
believe-
a new advertising or a new ad or a new whatever for it on Etsy. So it will be up and it will be gone.
Sunday. Come down to
And
BlasterPro's
then,
Studios.
in the next day or two, we'll be putting fins on this, and it's going to be big and beautiful and great for Dengars and Hoth Rebels.
Hoth Rebel Soldiers.
Hoth Rebel soldiers and
Dengar sidearm.
yes. So that's where this one. I've always liked it because it has that weird tall profile.
It does have a jacked up profile. I thought the gun was pretty actually cool itself.
And this is one of my now 4 approvable in my heart approvable Imperial sidearms. The number 1 is the Mere Sun Power 5. The number 2 is DH-17. Number 3 is the DL-21 Return of the Jedi version, and number 4 now is the SC-14. And now the SC-14 in post-Empire Mandalorian era seems to be the only sidearm that has survived. Although what I did love, one of my favorite things about the Endor series is you see the Mere Sun Power 5 prominently displayed in all its glory, Imperial sidearm.
Yeah.
And you know, everyone, the reason why anybody out there, TIE pilots, Imperial officers, why you should never carry a DL-44 is the same reason why Han Solo carries a DL-44. It's because the Empire outlawed this blaster because of its ease of penetrating stormtrooper armor.
Giggity.
Good night, everybody. See you next week when we go
said
deeper
penetrating.
into molds. Anything to add?
He said penetrating and deeper. I just want to toss that out
Penetrate.
there.
Then you can get
Apparently, Hayden just doesn't think I'm funny tonight.
The wrap up has been lasting 15 minutes.
Yeah, we were trying to see if it would like cut us off.
That wasn't the point.
We're
Oh,
wrapping
and
up
yes.
and cutting.
And now that we're all done, and we have not been shut down, but it could happen any minute.
Yeah, so stop pushing your
We are going to contest our deletion of our opening because
Delete.
we did not reopen. Hayden, can you go back if they okay that and just splice these two back together and make them one episode?
You're gonna have to make it a video.
Okay.
Yes is the short answer.
Yes is a short answer, but it wouldn't fall into the live stream area because it would be an uploaded video. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's no,
Okay.
if you're just gonna do that, make a video.
All right. And, another quick thing is we will be doing the blasters 5 minutes or less. That is going to start next week. Unless I can't finish my stuff, don't blame Hayden is blaming me.
It's going to be
anyway.
a happy blaster.
It's going to be a happy blaster. We are going to be starting with a DL-44 series, and we're going to be starting with the Han Solo, A&H, Hero, and we're going to go from there. We're going to talk about all the bits and bobs that make a blaster a blaster. We're not talking about blaster canon, the blaster history, the history within the Star Wars universe. We're going to be talking about the real world pieces of these blasters is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about the Mausers. We're going to talk about the
things you would find on the RPF if you go there.
You can go and find all this stuff on the RPF also. We'll be talking about the M38 scopes. We'll be talking about the Greebly kits, the Revell engine kit, all the pieces that go into making this. And once we're done with that, we're going to start on the E11, and we're going to do an E11 series, and we'll do a DH17 series. They're all going to be 5 minutes or less, and they're going to be chock full of useless information that's rattling around in my head. And if Matt has nothing to add and Rodney has 3 shut-ups.
I actually gave him 4 because he was writing something and I just...
So he got a shut up for a silent writing. He wrote something and got a shut up. So anyway, Rodney shut-ups, 4 on Matt's side, 3 on my side. And we hope to see everybody next week where we will be going deeper into molds, mold creations, materials, and all that fun stuff.
God, I hate this stupid thing.
Good night, everybody.
Bye!